I'm Kevin. Nice to meet you. I'm excited to be giving my very first Pathways speech this evening. Today I want to give you a sense of who I am, my life up to this point, my passions, my struggles, and my family. Mom and I moved to Courtney in late August 2018. My goal has been to go to college to become a healthcare assistant, and Mom has decided to retire here. We're currently living together. Previously, I was a full-time caregiver for both of my parents who were very ill. My father has since passed. And before that, I was in IT for 5 years, mostly self-employed, so it has a bit of a roller coaster. Mainly in the Duke in Edmonton, but also in Lethbridge. And before that, I was a journalist. Some of the things I enjoy are computers, biking, baseball, hanging out with friends, interacting on social media, and occasional freelance journalism opportunities when they come up. There we go. But let's go back to the beginning. I was born on July 24th, 1982. Here you can see my dad holding me, and my mom and I on my second birthday. We also lived in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia, and then back to Alberta before Dad retired from the military as a carpenter after serving 20 years. Here we are during our time living in the Duke. I had just graduated college for IT work, and was working at Dell doing tech support when they still had a call center there. Dad had a good job working at the airport as a security guard at the airport, where he was for 9 years. And Mom worked in the kitchen at the Best Western, a job she hated as much as she loved, as one can imagine. Sadly, health issues forced me to leave Dell and work closer to home, where I found a job as a laborer and a ramp agent, or baggage handler, at the Edmonton airport, which I really enjoyed. I grew tired and depressed in the Duke after having spent more than a decade there, and needed a change. I didn't want to move to Edmonton or any big city. At that point, my interest in journalism peaked, and I found Lethbridge College. Mom and I checked it out, and I fell in love with it instantly. And I stayed there for 3.5 years. Pictured here is Fort Woodlove, a wonderful little museum and tourist spot in Indian Battle Park, in between the rolling hills called Komoux. My goal at Lethbridge College was to start a career in journalism, telling stories about people and events in the community and wherever I ended up. And also to write regular columns about technology and that would help people learn and understand technology. However, I had difficulty finding stable work at the time and decided to go back into IT work, because we all have a cost of living that we have to meet, which I did for a few years while doing some freelance and social media work as well. I have suffered for years with what's called IBS, or irritable bowel syndrome. It is triggered by stress, anxiety, and certain foods for the most part. It really limits what I can do. Excuse me. Lowers my endurance and can leave me at times feeling utterly exhausted. So I cannot attend college or work full time and likely never will be able to. I also take meds and over-the-counter options, which do help, but don't cure it. have always been fascinated with the weather. If I was smart enough to be a meteorologist and could wrap my head around the math and science, I would have done that. I would have become a meteorologist. That being said, a few years ago, I was gifted a weather station by a Secret Santa at the place I worked, and have used it every day since. I also purchased a second one, which I use here in Cork, because we have yet to sell our place on the Duke. Current conditions and historical data from both is actually always available online at komouxweather.ca or leducweather.ca, which are websites that I personally spent time creating. And I encourage you all to check those out. It's quite interesting. Even a little bit of a weather nerd or any interest in it whatsoever, it's actually quite fascinating. And it's really in layman's terms. You don't have to be a weather expert to understand any of it. And again, I created those sites myself, so I'm quite proud of it. I also wanted to give you a sense of my time in Toastmasters up to this point. These photos were taken when I was a member of the Energizers Toastmasters Club in Leduc, Alberta. At that time, which was give or take 2003, I was deemed Rookie of the Year. That's the award. For completing my first 10 speeches in the first year. And here I am after giving my 10th speech. And photos of a couple of friends and fellow members that I knew at the time. Actually, still know him. Good guy. Lost touch with her though, which is unfortunate. More recently, I was a member of the Leduc Black Gold Toastmasters Club in Leduc. Here is a group shot of everyone, including some guests and past members, at the 20th anniversary meeting earlier in 2018. This is my dad. He passed away sadly 2 years ago at the, quite frankly, young age of 63 after a incredibly, and I mean incredibly, devastating battle with multiple system atrophy, or MSA, which I'll describe possibly more in a future speech. The photo on the left was taken at a baseball game during the time when he was still living at home, and that was quite the feat. I'll always remember that. Wasn't as accessible as I would have liked, but we enjoyed ourselves nonetheless. And that was at the time actually when it meant a lot to me because he was receiving home care visits 4 times a day. So. Anyway, I was a full-time caregiver for him and my utterly devastated mother for 2 years. Since his death, it has taken Mum and I 2 years plus to recover. I moved to Courtney to attend college with the intention of becoming a healthcare assistant, as I said earlier. However, after 3 months of an exhausting schedule and curriculum, and after serious, very serious consideration and lengthy conversations with the college and with family, I decided to withdraw from that program. Forget to include a slide apparently. At this moment, I'm not sure what I'll do next. I have some ideas, but we know we want to remain here in Komoux Courtney, and certainly on Vancouver Island. So we're not going back to Alberta. That's definitive. We're not doing it. We love life here too much. That being said, I'll be taking time in the coming weeks and months to figure out what I'll be doing. We're already working on that. I haven't ruled out going back into IT or journalism either, so we'll see what happens. I shall end my speech with this. Despite health issues and situations our family has been dealt, personally and professionally, we have found the strength in each other and trusted friends, and have managed to find, for the most part, the good in each day. We have learned to truly appreciate the moments, simply seeking to do the right thing. I think that's the most anyone can ask for. That said, we are curious what the future holds. To coin a cliche, I guess, today is the first day of the rest of my life. I am focused on the future, not the past.